everyone. Lisa Haven here. Well, the Biden administration has officially become the old Soviet Union. You see, just like the old Soviet, where they went after political dissidents, anyone in opposition to what they believe, so is the Biden administration. And they're doing that in a couple of ways. First of all, via these vaccine mandates, the Biden administration is getting rid of any and all people who stand on the side of freedom, thus specifically targeting those of a political different opinion. Not only that, but Representative Paul Gosar has just dropped a bombshell on his administration's head and revealed the fact that the Biden administration is compiling a couple of lists of conservatives, which these conservatives, by the way, have not committed any crime. They are not allowed due process, nor can they have a hearing. But these people on the list can't fly in a plane, nor are they allowed to own a gun. This is above and beyond anything we have ever seen in straight Soviet style politics here in the United States of America. Now, before I get into the report, please make sure you are still subscribed to the channel. As you know, YouTube is wiping people. Please check your subscription, and please also make sure that you click that little bell here on YouTube. It's on this side, but click that bell and make sure you're getting the notifications. But with that, please don't forget to check out my partner at noblegoldinvestments.com. Right now, they are giving away this amazing 5-ounce silver coin here, and you can get it with any approved IRA or 401k. It's an American the Beautiful coin, but this thing is absolutely a keeper. But check it out at noblegoldinvestments.com and make sure you're on the right track economically. All right. So what on earth is going on with this Biden administration? We'll take a look at this article here that I found originally on gatewaypundit.com. The Biden gang reportedly running secret list used to prevent outspoken political opponents from owning guns. Laura Loomer, who has been banned on pretty much everything, speaks out on this injustice. And you can see the article is very recent. But the article goes on to state this. Representative Paul Gosar has accused Biden's government of maintaining 2 secret lists that it uses to strip its enemies of their constitutional rights. Just like the old Soviet, these enemies, like activist and congressional candidate Laura Loomer, are those Americans who love God, their country, and their freedom. Representative Paul Gosar released a letter this weekend that he said to Biden's corrupt AG, Merrick Garland, addressing the secret list he has put in place illegally and unconstitutionally. Now, here's the actual announcement by Representative Paul Gosar, and he says this: between the no-fly list and the NICS list, there are 2 secret lists of government uses to strip American citizens of their constitutional right, but they do so in secret with no charges, no hearing, and no due process. It's a remnant from Soviet Russia, and it needs to end. Amen to that. Now, here's the actual letter that he wrote and put together. And I kind of want to show you this letter because I believe what he actually says here is very important. But here's the letter published October 26, 2021. And he makes it out there, the subject line here, National Instant Background Check System, NICS. And he addresses it to Attorney General Garland, who, by the way, AG Garland is one of the worst attorney generals we have ever had. And I say that because he goes after parents who go to school boards and are kind of standing on the right. But anyway, he's a Democrat operative, and that's all he cares about. But anyway, so I don't think much is going to come of this letter. I'm just going to put that forefront, but at least it's being addressed. Here's what he says. I write you today, AG Merrick Garland, regarding innocent American citizens that are being stripped of their Second Amendment rights without due process and subjected to secretive lists that revoke constitutional rights without any recourse. This troubling trend has affected an unknown amount of U.S. citizens. Secretive lists are increasingly being used to deny law-abiding citizens who have not committed a crime or even used drugs of their constitutional rights. This dubious practice by your department of disarming innocent Americans without due process is unacceptable and unconstitutional. Now, the rest of this first page here just kind of goes on to talk about the Second Amendment and who should and shouldn't be stripped of their rights based off the law. But it goes on to talk about, the ones that should are basically, illegal aliens, if you've been dishonorably discharged, domestic violence kind of stuff, and the list goes on, or mentally incapable. But he goes on to ask a question of Merrick Garland, and he says, is the DOJ aware of any additional classes of persons or individual persons prohibited from shipping, transporting, or receiving firearms on ammunition outside of the classes enumerated above? And I really hope that he asks this question. Then it goes on to say this, and I'm going to skip to the third paragraph here. The FBI handles background checks entirely for most states, and a denied person is not informed initially about the reason for his or her denial. However, a denied person can challenge the accuracy of the underlying records upon which his or her denial is based. If an individual initiates this process by requesting in writing the reason for the denial from the agency conducted by the NICS checked, the FBI or state, federal law requires the denying agency to respond to the request within 5 days. Upon receipt of the reason and underlying record for the denial, the denied person can challenge the accuracy of the record. If the record is found to be inaccurate, the denying agency is legally obligated to correct that record, right? The problem is, this isn't happening. If you're not even notified about it, then how are you even going to know if you're on the list? Thus the case that he brings up about Laura Loomer. But Laura Loomer here at the very bottom, a former Arizona resident, now U.S. congressional candidate in Florida's 11th district, recently contested her listing on the NICS index. The FBI never notified her that she was placed in this database, despite the fact that she had a gun at the time. She was in the NICS database. Loomer only found out she was on the list when she applied for a concealed carry CCW permit in Florida, and her application was denied. Even after being denied, Loomer had to make several more inquiries as to why she was denied. If she had not contested, back up to the third page at the top, her application denial, Loomer could have still legally had a gun in Florida without carrying, and she never would have even known that the FBI had banned her from being able to own a firearm. This begs the question. It's a good question. Was the FBI trying to entrap her? And how many other American citizens who are also on the FBI's NICS database have yet to be notified that they have also been banned from owning and possessing firearms? Good question. Good question. And he better freaking answer it, right? He goes on. However, the FBI has yet to even restore her constitutional right to bear arms, which warrants answers to the following questions. Okay. Here's the questions. What is the status of the correction of the inaccurate listing in the NICS index of Laura Loomer? Something that your department is legally obligated to correct, right? Good question. How come the FBI never notified her that she was placed on the database? How many individuals are on this database? How many individuals are listed in the federally denied persons file? Can political activists who have not been accused of any crime be prohibited from possessing firearms just for being an activist? This is above and beyond. Does the AG or anyone in the government have the authority to deny firearm transfer based solely on an arbitrary opinion, absent of any evidence? This is the old Soviet, folks. Does the AG or any federal official have the authority to deny firearm transfers and state issue firearm permits to watch listed persons if he or she is deemed to be dangerous? Are U.S. citizens notified when the AG makes a determination about them for the purposes of gun control? What form of redress and remedy is provided for misidentifications, improper watch lists, and wrongful denial? And finally, he concludes, innocent individuals on the secret list have been dangerously disarmed. Once you are on the list, an individual cannot acquire a firearm. Of particular concern is the secretive, federally denied persons file. To the extent that his department is keeping secret and unconstitutional lists, it should create a clear route of recourse for innocent citizens unfairly and unlawfully listed without due process. The protection of constitutional rights for law-abiding citizens should be a priority of your department. And peaceful political activists, congressional candidates, and all law-abiding Americans should not be subjected to political and bureaucratic regime that usurps the Constitution and the right to bear arms. Please provide a written response by November 1st. So there you have it. Here's the thing. It is completely unconstitutional to create a list of basically conservatives. Let's just be frank with who they're putting on this, because the FBI, the DOJ, they're all on the side of the Democratic Party, aka Socialist Party, right? And anyway, these lists being compiled, you're not told you're on it. It's almost as if Laura Loomer was being set up, as Paul Gosar said, because she didn't even know she was on it. And hey, what happens in the future if she's still carrying her gun, right? Second. Third, it's completely illegal what they're doing. You can't just compile a list, put somebody on it because you don't like their opinion or what they stand for, especially when they haven't committed any crime or charge or done any of the things that should ban you from a firearm. We aren't in a free country when things like this are allowed. And I'm quite curious how many names are on this list. How big is this list? And I would not be shocked if 99.9% of them were all conservatives, Republicans, and libertarians, because the Biden administration is downright crossing so many lines and taking the Constitution and using it like toilet paper and rubbing it in the face of the American people. This should get you upset no matter what side of the fence you're on. And I've talked about this on Restricted Republic quite a few times, by the way, but get there. Get to restrictedrepublic.com and check out some of the information that we have on there. Over there, we have all kinds of content that you're not going to get here on YouTube. Anyhow, I love all of you. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.